G'day Gorgeous, I so appreciate you tuning in today to the podcast that empowers women for financial independence and business life success. And if you're brand new here, then I want to say welcome. I really appreciate you tuning in. Today's podcast, I am excited. It's going to be a little different based on the most asked question I get from my students. She says, her name's Juliet, Amanda, I so badly want to feel successful in my business and in my life, especially when it comes to relationships. But I have one major problem I can't seem to overcome: me and my lack of confidence and worthiness. I'm desperate and feel like life is leaving me behind. Please help. Well, if that sounds like you, stay tuned in. The Gday Gorgeous podcast is where you're going to get real, raw, and relatable stories, answers, guidance, and proven formulas that can help you overcome your frustrations and live a life that you truly love every single day, no matter who you are or your background. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson. I'm a best-selling author, international speaker, an entrepreneur, and a trained DeMartini method facilitator, and a world-leading financial independence and business success coach for the entrepreneurial woman who wants to release her inner multimillionairess. And to find out how I can help you gain the clarity, inspiration, certainty to design and live your dream life too, then please pop over and visit me at gdaygorgeous.com or simply click the link in the notes below. Be sure to have your journal. Today's story will inspire you, and I am sure you will gain many golden nuggets from the story I'm about to share with you. Let's jump in. Good morning, gorgeous butterflies and ladies. Welcome to today's podcast. So looking forward to doing this podcast. It is going to be a little different than my normal podcast. Well, today I have something a little different for you ladies. I hope you have your journal. You are going to need it because today I am going to share a little story based on a question that I get so many times, and I've been mentoring now for more than 16 years in this particular space. Wealth creation, financial independence, personal empowerment. But this question just comes up over and over again. And so today I thought, instead of my usual, training and asking you questions, I want to share a little story with you. But I still believe you'll be able to take some golden nuggets. And what I would ask of you is to put yourself into this story. I want you to imagine that this is you in this story, and notice how you feel, and be sure to write down some of your golden nuggets when I share this story based on a question from one of our ladies inside our community. I've given her the name of Juliet, even though it's not her real name, but just to protect her, just to keep it confidential. But I want you to listen really carefully, and this story is about you. So let me read out the question. And good morning to all of you beautiful ladies. I won't go through all the names, but I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you being on with me. I love having a live audience when I do these podcasts. So I'm going to be looking at my computer a little bit more today because this is a story that I wrote. Amanda, I so badly want to feel successful in business and in my life, especially when it comes to relationships. But I have one major problem that I can't seem to overcome: me and my lack of confidence and my lack of worthiness. I'm desperate and feeling like life is leaving me behind. Please help. Okay, so give me a little thumbs up if you can relate to Juliet's question for a start, and if you've ever felt like this. And as I said, I'm about to jump into a little story now that I want you to be in, and ask yourself, can you relate? Has this ever been you? Does Juliet's question ring true for you? And I want to begin by calling it the high school wallflower. Any of you ever been a high school wallflower? I bet some of you have, okay? So the high school wallflower. She is the one that didn't stand out in the crowd. She's the one that nobody liked because she wasn't cool. She's the one that the captain of the sports team overlooked every single sports day. She's the one that had problems focusing and learning. She's the one that the teachers said would never amount to much. And she's the one that the boys never ever picked once to dance with, and she was left standing against the wall every Friday wishing she'd just die on the spot. She's the one that grew up feeling less than others. She felt insecure, and worse than that, she grew to dislike herself immensely. And fast forward a few years. She's now left school, but the memories are clear and sharp. The words of her teachers are clear in her mind, and still she feels the pain of the sharp words and sometimes the slaps that came with it. But she's still living in her past, worried still today what other people think. She's continually comparing herself to everybody around her, and she continues to beat up on herself. She's always feeling less than, certainly not successful in any measure at all. And unfortunately, she mostly feels invisible and forgotten. She never feels like she deserves more than what life dishes out, and she puts up with whatever comes her way. Ladies, do you know anybody like this? And as the years roll on, her self-hatred sets in and she gets on this merry-go-round. Mrs. Nasty Pasty has moved into her head permanently, rent-free, mind you. And then soon enough, Mrs. Nasty Pasty lets her emotions run her world. She doesn't even notice that it's all happening. But as time goes on, she gets angrier. She gets more resentful. She even feels jealous when she looks around her and sees others living the life that she thought she would have. She doesn't mean to feel like this, but by now her emotions are out of control. She watches with others in silence. She doesn't say much, and she plasters a fake smile on her face, hoping that no one will unravel or see the truth behind the mask that she wears every single day. She watches other people, and they all seem to have everything that she's always dreamed of. They have amazing friends. They have lovers. They seem to have fun. They have money. They're creating wealth. They have happy families. They have a career that they absolutely love. And yet she sits there in misery and in pain, wondering if life was ever going to give her anything. She's got none of that going on. But still, like a mad woman, she keeps going around and around and around, hoping and praying and wishing for something better to come along, hoping for more, hoping for a miracle to occur, and even getting angry at God for not listening to her cry for help. But as the years roll on, nothing ever changes. By now, she's desperate. She hates who she's become. Mrs. Nasty Pasty, who's now feeling depressed, anxious, and has now surfaced to the top of the world. She no longer wears the mask because she's just become a miserable, older version of her younger self. She's now wondering if she needs some pills to calm her down. She can't face the world. She feels absolutely useless. She feels that nothing is ever going to go her way. And she says to herself, perhaps I am depressed. Perhaps I have some sort of chemical imbalance. Perhaps I'm not wired right. Perhaps this is my fate. And then, fed up one day, she's sick of life and she's sick of herself. And she invests into a brand new course, anything to get away from herself, anything not to have to face the woman that stares back at her in the mirror every day. And she invests into a program, into a course that has always been of interest to her, yet she's never had the guts or the desire to do something about it until this day. And feeling so desperate, she goes into this course with an open mind because nothing else seems to be working for her, and so she gives up the fight within, and she says to Mrs. Nasty Pasty, "Take a back seat, girl. I've got to go in. Something's got to change. I'm going in with an open mind." And so a month or two into this course, because she actually likes it, she sticks to it. One day the penny finally drops when one of the mentors who was sharing something important with the crowd says these words: "Life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change." Mrs. Nasty Pasty is sitting in the room, and all of a sudden, just like a bolt of lightning hits her, she says to herself, "Oh my God, things need to change. I've got to do something about my story. I need to change my perceptions of life. I need to stop telling the same old story day in, day out, hoping for a brand new beginning. It's time to sit up straight and take charge of my own destiny," she says to herself. "It's time to write a grand new chapter of life. It's time to stop feeling sorry for herself," she says, "and become the woman she knew she was born to be, but had no clue how to bring her out into the world." She says to herself, "It's time to turn your challenges into opportunity. It's time to love yourself for who you are and let go of the past. Let go of the thoughts that you have that have been holding you captive in your mind," she says. "And it's time to release the multi-millionairess that she knew was sitting inside herself but didn't know how to bring out into the open." But then, as she's sitting there saying those words to herself, the old voices come back in. They come flooding in like a wave. The headmaster said, "You weren't good enough." The headmaster says, "You were dumb and that you would never amount to anything. The boys at school didn't pick you for a reason. You must be ugly. You mustn't be good enough. You mustn't be pretty enough. You mustn't be tall enough. You mustn't have this, that, or the other going on. You're not popular enough. Maybe you're not intelligent enough." And she sits in her seat, and the moment comes when she must choose. The moment comes when she has to make that decision. It's now or never, and she's at a crossroads. Should she continue playing the small game of life or find a way out? Find a way to turn her challenge into opportunity. Find a way to get over herself and think about other people. Think about how she can turn this into something that's meaningful instead of living in the past day in, day out, withering away. Thankfully, she chooses herself, and she declares with a new sense of inner strength, while she's secretly shitting herself, of course, that it's time to change her perception of life because she's done with being a wallflower. And from that moment on, she decides to cultivate her new multi-millionairess attitude and takes massive action right then and there, and choosing to transform her life from the inside out. And just like the caterpillar that transforms into a magnificent butterfly, all of the changes must occur internally so that just like magic, new and beautiful life can take form. And so Miss Nasty Pasty commits to the empowering habit of following a proven success formula each and every day, because she learned through sitting in that classroom that if nothing changes, nothing changes. No, the road was not easy. Some days the road was painful. It was hard. She fell down more times than she can remember. But somehow she needed to find the inner strength, not looking on the outside, but the inner strength and the inner determination to get back up, dust off her knees, and make the promise to herself in the mirror that she was never going back to being that wallflower from high school. And as the time rolled on, the months that bled into the years, from choosing herself and from making that one decision of choosing to empower her life in every single area from that moment on, take charge of her life, become intelligent, study in her own time, give up things that were never going to take her to the life that she wanted. All of a sudden one day she woke up feeling different. She looks in the mirror and sees a different woman. She looks in the mirror and sees an empowered woman staring back at her. She looks in the mirror and that woman is standing different. She feels different. And it's all because she has made that commitment every single day to following a success formula that set her free from that being that wallflower from high school. And for the very first time in her life, she feels appreciation for who she is. She feels gratitude for the woman she has become. And then, after those many stumbles and those many falls, those many roadblocks, and learning how to block the voices and the opinions of the others on the outside of herself, by choosing opportunity, by choosing to become an entrepreneur and wanting to serve other people, wanting to focus her attention on others instead of her problems, and finding a way to help others create a life that they truly wanted also, in the end, she got what she wanted too. Her inner multimillionairess qualities and her attitude helped her achieve a multi-million-dollar business that serves others globally. She became financially independent. She chose her life. She lives her life the way she wants to. But she chooses to continually serve others and find causes bigger than herself, bigger than her problems, so that she's continually always on the path of growth and serving others. And so, ladies, the point of this story, you are already a multi-millionairess. And the moral of this story is, it is time to uncover who you are, and so that you'll never sit in the shadows of anybody else. She chose to live congruently with who she was. She chose to give up the pressure of subordinating herself to others and outside authority. She chose to learn and understand what her true intrinsic values are. She chose to learn and cultivate her gifts and her talents to share with the world. And that is the moral of the story, ladies. It is time to uncover who you are. Be congruent. Shut the voices from the outside world out and listen to your inner guidance, because we all have one. Your natural born gifts and talents, that is your calling. That is your purpose. And it is different for all of us. And it is a way of turning a problem into an opportunity by sharing your gifts and talents with others. A multi-millionairess doesn't always mean multi-millions of dollars in the bank. A multi-millionairess is one with an attitude and cultivating the multi-millionairess from the inside out. And so my final words for this story, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Our perceptions, our decisions, and our actions, the only three things that we can control in this life. And I ask you to make that decision. You can only choose your life journey. And this is for Juliet, who asked this question. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, oh my God, she's talking about me. Give me a sign, give me a love heart, give me a tears or a thumbs up if you feel that I'm speaking directly to you, because I am. If you feel that this high school wallflower is you, has been you, and you're looking for a way out, I understand you, I get you. I was the high school wallflower, but I made a decision to kill that wallflower off. It's like a weed in your mind, and change your perceptions. Do the work on yourself. And at the end of the day, it is not work. It is a new beginning and a transformation, just like that butterfly. If you want to spread your wings and live the best life that you can, stop feeling the self-doubt. Stop feeling less than. Stop feeling unworthy of the life that you want to create, the job, the career, the business that you want to start and have, the money that you want to have in the bank, the beautiful relationships that you deserve and that you want. It cannot come to you until you learn to be the multimillionairess within first. Then it comes out and you attract exact proportion of who you have become. So I ask yourself to look at your life right now. Look at the life wheel in all 7 areas. Your love, your health, relationships, your vocation, your level of happiness, pardon me, your personal empowerment. Where do you sit on a scale of 1 to 10? And then ask yourself, where can I commit today? What can I do today that will take me from feeling like a high school wallflower to becoming the multi-millionairess that I know I am born to be? And so, ladies, that is my short podcast today. I wanted to keep it short and sharp and sweet by sharing a story that I hope is empowering and impactful, and to show you what's possible. A woman who sits in a classroom, who fails every subject at school except religion and art. A woman or a young girl who sits in a classroom with barely a friend in sight. A woman or a girl at the time who stands beside another woman and is the only one that never gets picked for a high school dance every single week in a row. A girl at the time who was told that she's dumb and she would amount to nothing much, and told that she needs to learn to focus more. And you can imagine what that does to a young woman's mind. How does she turn that into opportunity? She follows a success formula, she makes a commitment, and she chooses herself over the opinions and the voices of others. So ladies, I hope you took something from that story. And if you felt that you are the high school wallflower, I can promise you, I can assure you that you are not a wallflower. You just have not uncovered your intrinsic gifts and talents and turned them into your opportunity. So I hope you enjoyed that story today. I would love for you ladies to leave me a comment. Remember the 3 things, ladies: perceptions, decisions, and your actions will determine your destiny. And the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. I want to say thank you for joining me. I think this is one of the shortest podcasts I've ever done. Leave a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you connected to that story in any way, shape or form, especially you, Juliet, you know who you are because you sent in the question. I hope that gives you hope that there is no other way out of feeling the self-doubt and feeling like a failure unless you become true to who you really are. So ladies, that is my session today. Ladies, leave a comment. I would love to know how you related to that story and if you did. And thank you for joining me. I am sending you all big cyber hugs, and I will be back very soon with another podcast, another rampage, and sharing with you so many ideas and stories and many ways to turn your life into exactly what you want it to be and all that you deserve. I love each and every one of you. Cyber hugs. Now that wraps up today's podcast. I am sure you could really relate to the story I shared with you today. Till next week, I so appreciate you tuning in to the Gday Gorgeous podcast that empowers women for financial independence and business success. If you liked this episode and you got value from it, I would be super grateful if you would just take 30 seconds and leave me a review. And more importantly, pay it forward and share this podcast with your girlfriends, your family, and others that you know would greatly benefit, especially with today's story. I know so many millions of women would have related to today's story. Lastly, to find out more about my Gday Gorgeous coaching for women, my latest books and stories from other women in there, visit me at gdaygorgeous.com. And until next week, be bold, be courageous, and even more fabulous. Bye for now.